Sound the alarms. It's an emergency podcast. We were just on here last night. In fact, we're going to talk about the prediction we had last night about the topic we have for this evening. Devaughn Velle traded to the New Orleans Saints. What do we get in return? We got to get into all of this, man, on an emergency podcast. Jump in while you can. We'll only be here for a little while, starting right about now. Well, man, it seems like it was just yesterday. And I don't even know if we're all wearing different shirts. I don't know. We'll check it out, man, because there's no better way to start this than like this. And then I'll get into introductions.
Velle with Trent Sherfield, and Velle may be the odd man out. Mm-hmm. And it has me a little concerned that he may not make this team, or we said maybe surprise trade cut candidate, maybe Devaughn Velle. He has not impressed me at all with Franklin stepping up, and I would say Trent Sherfield stepped up too.
Just like that, man. My name's Keith Brugman, but I'm going to give it up to the guy who said it on camera yesterday first as we go around the horn, Mr. Kenny Kirkpatrick. Welcome in, Kenny Kirkpatrick. We had to go live after that.
Yeah, the nice emergency podcast. You know, a prediction you hope wasn't right, but we had it right. I want to give a shout out to one of our posse members too, Phil McLaughlin, also nailed it. It was his hot take as well in his question. Velle and Velle and Singleton getting traded. He nailed it as well. So good minds think alike. Unfortunately, he gets traded, but we wish him very well over there in New Orleans. I think he's got a chance to succeed over there, and we'll get into the details in a couple minutes, but glad I could be here tonight with everybody and talk about this trade a little bit.
Yeah, well, I'm going to think we're going to get into it quicker than you think, man. And thanks to everybody who's jumping in. I see Michael Ronquillo's in here, Graham's in here, Pearl's in here. We're all talking about this trade. Michael Ronquillo coming in and saying, good evening, Keith, Trevor, and Kenny, go Bo Broncos. Like he always does.
That's with 100 stars, Keith. That's with 100 stars. Thank you. Everybody's friend, Michael Ronquillo.
I had a feeling. I had just a little bit of a feeling that might have come with some stars. He's giving you that mile-high salute as well, Mr. Kenny Kirkpatrick. And he's also obviously dropping the news. Devaughn Velle traded to the New Orleans Saints. Kenny said, unfortunately. Trevor, do you agree this is an unfortunate trade, especially given the specifics? And you can certainly talk about the specifics if you wish.
Yeah, I mean, first and foremost, I don't think the Broncos were going to trade Devaughn Velle just to trade him. I mean, we talked about it last night. The return they had to get for Devaughn Velle had to be some sort of a value. I said you're not probably going to get much more than under a fourth round pick, like a third round pick, second round pick. You're not going to get that for Devaughn Velle. But the fact that you got a fourth round pick for Devaughn Velle changes the minds a little bit. You got that real value back. Remember, they got more back for Devaughn Velle than you got back for Jerry Jeudy when you trade Jerry Jeudy. When you trade Jerry Jeudy, you only got a fifth and sixth round draft pick back. With Devaughn Velle, you got a fourth round pick back. Obviously, you had that seventh rounder as well in there. George Payton loves his draft picks. This is a typical George Payton move. Sean Payton signed off on it. You have young wide receivers in that wide receiver room that I think are going to step up. Because here's the thing. Got some backtrack on Devaughn Velle last year. He played 53% of the snaps when he played 13 games for the Denver Broncos last season. Somebody's going to have to step into that next role. I think it's Troy Franklin. Anybody, because I think it's a lot to ask of Pat Bryant to do all of that in one season. Now, I do think Pat Bryant will see the field, but I think this is much to do with Troy Franklin stepping up. And I think that the Broncos are clearing up a roster spot to possibly keep another position, another player maybe that we didn't talk about on this roster.
I'll swing this over to Kenny because I'll just get the fourth horseman right involved. Mr. Jody Moncrief coming in the comments section. Part of the posse. That's all of you coming in, joining us live this evening. We appreciate you all a ton. Jody says, what does it say when Peyton compared Velle to Marcus Colston? Is a fourth and a seventh the right compensation for a Marcus Colston? What does it say, man? What are your thoughts on that comparison and now the trade of this particular player who has had high comparisons and obviously high aspirations and thoughts in Sean Payton's mind at one point?
Well, we all know Peyton really liked Devaughn Velle, but he must really be in love with Franklin and Bryant to make this move. We saw a lot of, upside this preseason with them. It doesn't say much. He's comparing him to a player from his Saints. And, I compare Velle to someone even better, in my opinion. I think Velle could be a poor man's Puka Nacua over in New Orleans. Kellen Moore over there, if the Saints, keep an eye on the Saints come trade deadline. Alvin Kamara, Chris Olave come to mind. This team might want to get younger. Devaughn Velle might have himself a nice career over there in New Orleans. And it just wasn't going to be there with Denver, with Troy Franklin and Pat Bryant in the mix, stepping up in preseason. So don't be surprised if he has a career year over there in New Orleans.
Well, and keep in mind for the Saints, real quickly, Keith, what the Saints are getting with Devaughn Velle, they're getting a big body wide receiver that can go up and get the football. And they've had some issues. He's been able to stay healthy in that wide receiver room. Chris Olave obviously missing most of last season for that team, but this gives them another young wide receiver or young-ish wide receiver that they have under a rookie contract over the next 3 seasons. Obviously 2 after this season, but they have a young wide receiver under team control, and they must really value Devaughn Velle. I think this is the highest offer the Broncos got for Devaughn Velle. Was a 4th-round pick. And, I mean, they pulled the trigger, and I think it's a good deal for both sides. I think Devaughn Velle gets a chance in that kind of weaker wide receiver room there in New Orleans to see real playing time.
Peter Johnson comes in, and he probably could have recapped the article I wrote just a couple of days ago with his comment right here. And I if you guys wish, gals, please feel free, follow the link. Appreciate it. But this team, the Denver Broncos, letting go of good players shows the Broncos are in a good spot. I'm okay with the move. Trust the process. It's exactly that. When you start getting good, there's going to be tough decisions. Now, luckily, the tough decision in my mind came down to getting a 4th and a 7th round pick in return, a 2026 4th round pick, a 2027 7th round pick. And I think that's fantastic. In all the decisions that you had to make with this roster, we knew that Troy Franklin had taken that step. We saw, as Kenny pointed out last night, Trent Sherfield, absolutely showing that he needs to be on this roster. Decisions had to be made, and to be able to make out, I guess, like the way that we did, hey, I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it. Jody's thinking that we'll be able to keep 4 running backs now. Albert Knoppers, the Mile High Dutchie coming in. They drafted Velle for a 7th, and the Broncos get a 4th and the 7th. Brilliant move by George Payton and the Broncos. Kenny, that might be a good one. I'll circle back over to you first, man. George Payton, man, where does he rank among GMs in the NFL? Where is he at in your mind?
Very underrated from more of an outside perspective. Looking at him, he's had some, moments where Bronco fans and everybody thought he was out the door, and he's turned his career around as a GM, in my opinion. And I'm going to say, I'm not going to put him at the top, but I'm not going to definitely not put him at the bottom. I'm going to have him in the middle of the league, I think, and but trending up. I think he's got a higher ceiling to be better. To come the rest of this year into next year, he could be top 10. So he's moving up. He's moving up, and he's doing a good job, in my opinion, in these last couple of years.
I'll put it one other way. When I go over to Mr. Trevor Salzman, when you then combine him with head coach Sean Payton, and you say head coach GM combination, where would you put George Payton, Sean Payton, Payton and Payton, where they're at?
I mean, first and foremost, I think it's going to be, I'd say, towards the top of the league. I think George Payton, he gets a lot of flack for that Russell Wilson trade. Really, he really does. Anybody would have made that trade. That we've got to put behind us because he has redeemed himself. And Sean Payton has kept George Payton around, and they've really came together. And I think have come together to make roster decisions as a whole. I don't think it's just Sean Payton. It's obviously going to be George Payton in on it. Greg Penner's in on it as well. So I think just that combo just in general is huge. And they've been hitting on the draft. I mean, this just goes to show they've been hitting on the draft. Devaughn Velle was a 235th pick in the 2024 NFL draft, a 7th-round draft pick, and they were able to flip him for a 4th-round pick. That's value right there. That's exactly what I'm talking about when it comes to value, getting value back for some of these players, not just letting them go, not just cutting them, but you get true value back for wide receiver. And on top of that, you get to watch some of these young other wide receivers start to grow in your wide receiver room. I think this is just huge for the Broncos as far as what they've done in the draft over the last couple seasons. They've really nailed it in the draft.
Absolutely, man. I'm really liking the way this is pairing. A lot of times you have a coach and you have a GM and they're on different schedules and you don't know who's in the door, who's out the door, what the tenure is going to be. Man, I feel really good about what the Broncos have put together and the relationship that those two have built. And to be starting now to orchestrate trades like this is funny. Is kind of funny, though. Once again, the New Orleans Saints. I mean, of course it's the New Orleans Saints. Who else would it be? I don't know if we have any other team we ever trade with. Well, maybe the 49ers. No, we just take their players. Never mind.
I do have a question, but Phil has
yes,
200 stars. If you want to get that comment back up, Keith, like we can read it.
All right. I love it, man, because it feels this way anymore. Wow, Keith, Rocket Man, Kenny Kirkpatrick on a Wednesday. I thought I slept through it. It was Friday. Laugh out loud. Next is Singleton and PJ Locke. Whew, man.
We gave you a shout out at the beginning of the show, Phil, about calling that as well. You know, the prediction that Velle and Singleton might be on the block. We gave you a nice little shout out at the beginning of the show because you nailed it as well.
And now he's just adding names. Now he's added PJ Locke on there. So
now he's gotta keep it at 2. You know.
Yeah, I got one right, man. I gotta add another one in. It's just this is the way it is. And like my article was all about, we're going to be losing some talent. You know, we lost some talent in Devaughn Velle. If I remember correctly, Trevor, you were on here saying, I don't think so because he's a big body, sure-handed guy. He was picked by Sean Payton. I think this is a guy that's going to stick around. We just got done talking about how Devaughn Velle absolutely has a chance to go down to New Orleans and in that system maybe absolutely be something. We saw it last year with Tim Patrick. But this is the type of thing that you have to do if you're going to make sure that you get some of the other talent. You know, no block, no rock, Pat Bryant. You want to see more of him? It's tough to have Devaughn Velle out there catching balls as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the thing. I mean, I didn't think it was going to happen because I didn't think that they were going to even get close to the value that they got for him. But the fact that they got the value for him, I would definitely listen on a guy that's drafted in the 7th round with the depth you have at wide receiver for a 4th-round draft pick. I think it's a very, very smart move. And anything less than that, again, I don't think we're talking about a Devaughn Velle trade. I don't think there was a world in hell where they were going to ever release him. I mean, you're not releasing a guy when he just went for a 4th-round draft pick. So the fact that he was traded for the value he got, that's why we're sitting here tonight, talking about Devaughn Velle headed to the New Orleans Saints.
Yeah. And just more rumors and talk that might be out there. Michael Ronquillo, he's usually pretty plugged in. I was reading the Broncos could trade running back Jaleel McLaughlin. Another stacked room that we end up talking about last night was that running back room and decisions to be made there. And can you sneak people in and out of a practice squad or onto the practice squad, I should say? Sometimes it becomes difficult. But if you can trade and get value and have assets, then we're talking about something a little bit different then. You know, Jaleel McLaughlin, maybe.
George and Sean may be watching this show because we've been saying Jaleel McLaughlin for weeks now was my odd man out.
Kenny.
The surprise guy to be the odd man out here. But I do have a Saints related question for you guys and for the posse and the horsemen, if you guys are ready.
Mm-hmm.
It's a
Go
yes
right
or
ahead.
no. It's a yes or no. It looks like the Broncos have a lot of ties with the Saints. You know, of course, Sean Payton has his players that have been there still in the past. We just traded Devaughn Velle away. That gives the Saints a starting wide receiver. Curious to see in this position, Kellen Moore, new coach. If Taysom Hill gets released, is there any way you bring him to the Broncos with the tight end situation the Broncos are having right now? I'll go to you guys first, and the audience can answer as well, a posse. I know what my answer is.
My answer is personally, no. Sean Payton, I mean, if he's just released and they can bring him onto the Denver Broncos, Taysom Hill's going to choose the Denver Broncos if at all possible. I could see it, but I don't want it.
Trevor?
Yeah, I mean, I don't. I think they would have went out and signed Taysom Hill by now if that was going to be the direction they go. I don't think they go in the Taysom Hill direction. I don't think Sean Payton wants every single player that he wants to play for him. I think there's certain players he just really loves and falls in love with, and he's got plenty right now. But I think that they still do need to back up tight end, but it's not Taysom Hill anyway.
See, I got to go yes. Pearl said yes, and I'm going to go with Pearl only because of this year's roster, the way it's set up. You have Bo Nix, you have Jarrett Stidham. You don't want to keep a third quarterback. You bring Taysom Hill, he could play multiple positions. He can be your emergency quarterback. He could be your scout team quarterback in practice. You can use him at tight end in tight end situations. You can use him in different spots. The way the tight end room is set up and the way the quarterback room is set up, just traded Devaughn Velle. If he becomes available, I take a shot at it. I do. In this situation right now. Now, if the Broncos went and traded for somebody tomorrow, a wide receiver or anybody that takes that roster spot away, Taysom Hill's not there. But the way the roster is now with losing Velle, I would bring Taysom Hill in over the other tight ends.
No.
Another reason why.
Go ahead, buddy.
No, I was just going to say real quickly, another reason why I don't think it's going to happen, because that's not been Sean Payton's MO. I mean, yes, he's went after veterans that he has once played for him, but Taysom Hill's about to be 35 years old. He don't just bring in 34, 35-year-old guys. He's built this team and him and George Payton together, and this Broncos organization since Sean Payton has arrived have built this roster based upon youth. I don't think they're going to add a guy that's 35 years old to this tight end room and expect him to do a whole lot. That just really hasn't been Sean Payton's MO. He's added veterans, don't get me wrong, but the guys that are in their prime years, I don't think Taysom Hill is just there anymore.
Well, this didn't mean to be a Taysom Hill show, but I mean, guys, I guess just kind of looking back, and we all expect and hope for good things for Devaughn Velle over in the NFC at this point, but it does end up just kind of showing you once again, it's 2 years in a row. Tim Patrick, Devaughn Velle, guys that we thought were going to be maybe a lock for this roster. It's certainly a key piece to what this offense could be. No longer a Denver Bronco, but great compensation. I got to give a shout out to Albert Mile High Dutchie too. He kind of looking a little bit into the future. We probably shouldn't expect that draft pick that we get next year to be anything other than fantastic. You know what I mean? I mean, the Saints aren't going to necessarily light the league on fire, I believe, and be going to the Super Bowl, just as an example. So might be some good draft pick coming next year, at least in the fourth round.
Yeah, high fourth rounder. I think you take that all day for the guy like Devaughn Velle.
Yeah. It also leaves options to move up if you see somebody in the second round you like, or even in the first round. You got trade bait now with 2 fourth-round picks.
Yeah, and Phil, he's like maybe the additions now could be actually for the O-line, the D-line. We know that we don't have a whole lot of depth on that O-line. Gargiulo going down probably didn't help that at all, so that offensive line could probably use a little bit of help. I'd say even that middle linebacker position is something that we could always end up looking at if we wanted to add to. We're going to get into all of that, man. I know that our next podcast, though, we're going to be kind of previewing a little bit the 53-man roster, it sounds like. So we'll be needing to hit that. probably take a little peek at least at that last preseason game as well. That's going to be on Friday, man. But we're going to go ahead and we're going to wrap up this episode. When things go breaking, when things go big news for the Denver Broncos, we're going to try to be on here. Best way to make sure you don't miss. Best way, make sure you hit that like, share, subscribe, that notification button. That's huge. We've been growing on YouTube. We've been growing on Facebook. It's all because of the love you guys have been showing us. We appreciate your support. Thank you so much for the star givers, by the way. Really, really, man. On a short episode like this, dropping stars, Phil McLaughlin, Michael Ronquillo, we love you. We appreciate you a ton. I'll go ahead and I'll let some quick goodbyes go in on a quick episode. Trevor, why don't you say goodbye, and then I'll pass it over to Kenny. We'll get on out of here.
Yeah, absolutely. I hope everybody enjoys these emergency podcasts. It's been a little bit since we've done them, and we love absolutely coming on here and talking Broncos and breaking down any news that happens with this team, and we'll continue to have them throughout the season. But quick turnaround, because you're going to see Devaughn Velle on Saturday more than likely. So when the Broncos travel to the Northern Saints, so I mean, there's that as well. It's kind of makes it a little weird, but and regardless, I mean, it's I think it's a good deal for the Broncos when what they're able to get back for a guy Devaughn Velle. Wish him nothing but the best. I think he's been nothing but a pro on and off the field. Hopefully he stays healthy and does really great things for the Saints. But hope everybody has a great rest of your night. We'll see everybody on Friday. Have a great rest of your week as well. And as always, go Broncos.
Go Broncos. Mr. Kenny Kirkpatrick, he's the predictor. He's the Kemosabe, got the crystal ball. He called it along with Phil McLaughlin. But now it's time for some goodbyes, man. We got not only goodbye to Devaughn Velle, but goodbye for all of our fans.
Yeah, no, thank you, everybody, for tuning in for the few minutes we've been on tonight. Little emergency podcast. When you say emergency, it wasn't the worst of news. It was actually some good news out of it. So, we had a nice emergency podcast. It wasn't a bad one. But I will say this. I'm going to throw out another hot take. We got Hot Take Thursday tomorrow. I'll give you one right now. And Michael Ronquillo, everybody's friend, alluded to it. Jaleel McLaughlin will be the next one traded on the Broncos. It will happen.
Man,
good night, everybody.
Dropping hot takes, Thursday hot takes on a Wednesday. Just like that. No, we appreciate everybody. It's been another fantastic episode of the Denver Bronco Roundup. Like I said, we're on Apple Podcasts, we're on Spotify, we're on Facebook, we're on YouTube. We're brought to you and sponsored by the amazing Morgan Trinkets. If you're in need of Southwest Jewelry, Southwest Pottery, Estate Gold wholesale prices, just do it the easy way. Head on over to Morgan Trinkets Co. over on Etsy. They won't let you down. But we got to get out of here. Hope you enjoyed the emergency pod. Can't wait to be, podding with you all again. But we're going to get out of here the way we always do. Make sure you keep your boots in the stirrups, guns in the holsters. Denver Broncos in your heart. Till next time, we're out of here. Have a great night, everybody. See you on Friday.